G'day guys, welcome to our final day of our video series where I'm talking about the common mistakes I see coaches make when trying to help players develop mental toughness. Today's mistake is that we tend to generally underestimate the importance of our communications with players, or we underestimate the possibility that our influence can have in shaping and having positive change on players' competitive ability. And I think one of the reasons for this is that it's this idea of independence, like independent athletes, that we should be making our players independent, and that players are sort of completely self-determining. And so while we absolutely want to aim to increase our players' self-determination and autonomy within relationships, what we need to realize is that the idea of an independent athlete is a myth. From a brain perspective, it's impossible. We don't exist as humans outside of relationships with others. The way we come to see ourselves and our perspectives of the world are almost completely determined by our relationships with important other people, most importantly parents, but as coaches, we would be the second most important influence in how players come to compete over time, how mentally tough they are. And in almost every case, regardless of the circumstances, you have the opportunity over time with repeated positive interactions and communications to help your players compete better. There is a very small percentage of players, usually based on very, very poor parental interactions when players were kids, that it's very, very difficult to actually help them compete better. But this is a small percentage. And in a large percentage, very, very large percentage of players, as you develop your skill and this perspective that every interaction, every communication is influencing our players in some way, when you get committed to this perspective, almost like you want your players to do, right? So it's so easy to get caught up in the overall circumstances of a player. They don't compete well, they've got bad attitudes, they do this, they do that. It's so important. It's so easy to get caught up in these difficult thoughts ourselves. And what we need to do as coaches is sort of bring it back to just the next point, right? Just the next communication, just the next interaction. Can I have a minuscule positive influence on my player in this next interaction, and then the next interaction? And over time, if we do this month after month, then, as I said, it's our influence and the possibility of how much you can help players over time for the majority of coaches is amazing. So this is a very, very important one. It's a general philosophy, and it's a general understanding that when we take the idea that the players are independent, it's up to them and so forth, then we're likely making a mistake in not recognizing and not achieving the things we could do within coach-player relationships. So this is a general approach, and it's a general perspective that we need to try to keep connecting with as we're working with players. And the mistake is to not have this recognition of our importance and of our ability to positively shape players. So as we finish up with that in mind, on this page, you'll see the opportunity to register for our upcoming coach professional development class. It's going to be, I think it's going to be great. It's not, I'm going to do it different than I've done before. We're going to have examples of me actually working with players throughout the course, where I'm going to be just demonstrating and showing you how I go about things, how I mess it up, and so forth along the way. We'll have live discussions. We'll also have some modules. So it should be really helpful. The first 5 days are going to be free. So just check out the information page. You'll see all the details there. If you want to take part, then you'll see how you can go about that. So thanks a lot for joining me over the last 7 days. I hope you have found this series helpful. And regardless of whether you join the class or not, all the best for your coaching of mental toughness. Super important part of the game, and obviously any time you can help your player develop mental toughness or mental fitness on court. It's going to have such great effects for their lives in general, which is so important. So once again, thanks for joining me, and yeah, we'll see you soon. Cheers.